approve those?
Yeah. So we're going to take about 5 minutes and go over the minutes from last meeting, and then we'll have public comment, and give us a couple of minutes here. Hey Bill, we welcomed you last meeting, but you weren't here.
So welcome again.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
Two welcomes.
Officially. Sorry I couldn't make the first one. Had a competing activity at a court of laws.
Oh, that sounds serious.
Relax.
Judge said you have to be here, so
So the minutes of these guys.
Right.
just in case anybody watching, it's a probate court.
That's really exciting.
Mike's coming today.
Comes like the second wind.
No.
Any amendments? Any amendments to minutes?
Make a motion to approve.
Approve the minutes?
Second.
All those in favor? All right, so we're at public comments. I know Vic DeValian you wanted to discuss the,
Yeah. Are you going now?
you can, yeah.
I would like to make a clarification that the public comment is exactly that, public comment.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to discuss certain things, specifics, we need to make an agenda item for that for next month. Okay, but we're glad to hear opinions, comments, but it's to stay on track according to our agenda. It's not a discussion period, it's a comment period.
And I would like to put on the record that I requested that the porta potty item be put on as an agenda item for this, and it was not.
It's on here.
Okay, it is on here? Okay, so I think
Underneath Jackson.
that if that's the case,
Yeah.
Well, we can certainly discuss it at that time, but we're
okay, I want to
glad.
make sure that you're not just saying we're going to.
Not at all,
Dodge that.
but according
Thank
to
you.
our agenda, we'd love to hear the comments.
Well then,
So I'm not sure this.
well, why don't we put Don Johnson first then?
Oh, okay.
And we can have public comments regarding anything else. But if we're gonna bring the porta potty down into the Jackson Falls part of the agenda,
Paint it pink, so it can stand now.
say that again?
Should have it pink so it will.
Well, one thing at a time here.
Or if all of you are here for the Jackson Falls related item, we could, it's up to Don if you wanna.
However you want to conduct your meeting is fine by me.
Well, I suppose we should listen to the public comments first. We can move the agenda item if we want to discuss it, but we're going to be adjourning at 6 o'clock because we're going to go walking around one of the loops. So,
I want to interrupt you. We got people here. We got friends are here.
Why don't we just do Jackson Falls first?
Sure.
Let's do the Jackson Falls.
25 to 6.
okay.
Jackson Falls first.
Something? No.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I'm not sure this is as a comment, but I got a shot note that I'd like to
Yeah.
Absolutely.
this out, and I'll read it, I guess, to everybody. So, this is a letter to the Conservation Commission. Thank you. And there's more copies here if you want to see what I'm going to say, I guess. So I'll quickly read this, it'll take less than a minute, I think. And this is to the Conservation Committee from my wife and I about the bathroom facility location in Jackson Falls. So this is taken from the Wildcat River Comprehensive River Management Plan regarding the Upper Falls. Quote, it says, intense use of this area is causing degradation and its natural beauty and stream bed erosion. Litter and disposal of human and animal waste is a concern. You all know that. We commend the Conservation Commission for its ongoing efforts to alleviate these problems. Although it is clear that a bathroom facility is needed, we were disappointed in the site choice. Of other possible sites along the falls, the site chosen compared to other sites is the one closest to any residents. It is in view and sound from locations both in and around our home. We're sure it wasn't considered, but actually the slamming of the spring-loaded porta potty door is quite loud and can be heard throughout our property. Other possible sites will not have the same impact on other residents and would be more centrally located for the visitors. We asked the Conservation Committee to consider another site for the bathroom facility. And separately, as you are well aware, the National Wild and Scenic Rivers Act recommends that the nation protect wild and scenic rivers from development that would substantially alter their wild and scenic nature. The Jackson Falls segment of the river is designated recreational. Thus, certain limited improvements are allowable within the primary goal of encouraging low-intensity uses that can be harmoniously, appropriately, and safely located adjacent to the river. Now, it may be that we have allowed the Jackson Falls segment to develop to a condition beyond the stated goal of low-intensity use. We recommend serious thought be given towards various options available in reducing the use of this small and fragile area. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments? Can you state your name?
No, Beth.
Beth, Unisella. I would like to concur with what Dick said, but I have a few more things to add to that. While Dick is asking that the porta potty be relocated, I am asking that it be removed completely. We have a porta potty here in town. We're turning the falls into more than a limited use area with the additional parking that has gone there. Aside from the additional parking, no designated spots for Jackson people who pay the taxes here to park on a warm summer day when you go there. People are coming. We're encouraging people. Our chambers of commerce are encouraging people to come and stay for the day. A porta potty is making it all the more available for that use, a full day stay there. I don't think that this is a good way to share the falls. I'm not against people coming here and using the falls, but I think that people pulling in and having to leave, maybe limited time parking and so forth could be considered. It makes it more available for other people to use the falls. I think that all the additions that have gone on in the last few years are taking away that natural wild experience that the falls should be. The addition of the steps, the wood chips, the fence, what's next? We have one bench there, I think. I don't know, there's a picnic table. It's becoming more of a park area that we're creating this. It's really not that safe a place as far as the rocks and so forth, for families to be coming with kids to spend the day, I think we should consider more limited use of the falls without discriminating as far as people coming to use them. I think that we're going a little bit too far. Next thing I'm expecting to see will be grills. Come and grill, you know. I think if you go and check different chamber sites, you'll see that this is what's being promoted, and we're really being way overboard and allowing this kind of usage to go on. Thank you.
Thanks.
I heard rumor you're thinking of paving the parking.
It's been discussed.
God help us.
I don't know if
So
that's.
designated wildly scenic, not paved like a road.
Well, a lot of this discussion
Yeah.
has been happening for months and months. And, we're an advisory board that have been working with the selectmen. They came to us and said, these are the issues that we face.
Well, they came to you?
They did,
Well,
Yeah.
that's very interesting.
yeah.
Thank you.
I know I've been. This
And
is not a
Are
question.
are you all set, B, with what your
That's
comment?
not the way I understood it.
How did you understand it?
I asked them. It was under discussion. They didn't say they brought it up.
Are you speaking specifically of the,
Selectmen.
Well,
no, of the paving?
Yeah.
It has been discussed. I think it was actually Pat Kelly's idea
Yeah.
because of the erosion.
it was the road agent who.
Yeah, it was the road agent who said that probably the best idea to prevent some of the erosion may be to
The
pave
roads
that.
have looked the same since 1902.
Perhaps.
I took a picture.
Okay.
I don't.
Do you have any other comment for the record?
No.
Okay.
Fence is a nice fence. Doesn't belong.
But do you understand the reason behind why the fence is there, and how long it will be there? It's a
Yeah.
temporary fence to allow the growth to
Yeah,
come
I
up.
read that.
So that
What are
we
you
can-
gonna do with it after?
I'm gonna-
Auction?
Yeah, it's a really great idea.
Maybe I could just shed a little light that all the things that have been done there, whether it's the wood chips, whether it's the fencing, whether it's the steps, they're all in line with a number of years ago. We brought in a soil scientist and a wetlands hydrologist to look at the erosion issues at the falls, and he came up with a report for us, prepared a report for us, submitted it, and under these guidelines. Of the company we hired, we're following pretty much lockstep and barrel with what they said is a way to avoid massive erosion in the future. So, I mean, I just want everyone to know, like, these aren't things that we decided, like, hey, I like split rail fences, I think they're cool, or we want to put steps here. It's all been in line with, and this has been a process for 5 years? 4 or 5 years. And so I'll be the first to admit, I am not a soil scientist. I do have some small trail work experience in my background, but I'm not a soil scientist. I'm not a hydrologist. So what we decided to do is we're going to get the experts, and we're going to listen to them, and then we'll come to a decision that we think makes the most sense, and we'll do what we can to try and mitigate the erosion at hand. And so really, I want people to understand that's really where we're coming from. It's not out of any kind of I don't know agenda other than this is what they're saying we need to do to stop erosion.
And just to clarify, that was brought to the town and the selectmen, who said it was okay, so now we follow those guidelines. So if they had said otherwise, then we wouldn't be following those guidelines. But they accepted that booklet of information and said, this is what you need to do, and now it's our job to follow that.
I just want to clarify, in reading the plan, I think it noted that the Conservation Commission job was to monitor and advise the selectmen.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, we're advisory.
I guess understands this.
So in regards to the porta potties, we I think advised 2 or 3 sites, and the selectmen decided on that location.
No, actually, Pat Kelly
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
decided that
Oh,
wasn't the
sorry.
location as a group we chose. We chose to put it down near the handicap site. I spoke with Pat Kelly, asked them why they didn't put it at the handicap site. It wasn't a level enough area for that, and they thought that where it currently resides is the best place to shelter it from the main part of the falls. So that was, we took that under advisement from the road agent.
I agree all that, except for, what I said there, the two
course.
things. One is it's closest to any residence, which is my house.
Yeah.
And, the positive thing is when people try to find my house, I can tell we're right next to the outhouse. So to be,
Yeah. Well, like you said, in our last meeting,
Yeah.
in the agenda, we did choose to have it put down by the handicap parking lot.
Yeah.
And as an advisory board, we can only advise that.
Yeah.
So when the selectmen and the road agent decided to move it, and that, I don't think there is a great spot to put
I
it. It's a
understand
situation.
there's a problem.
And,
Right.
as an advisory board,
Yeah.
that's about as far as we can go, and obviously we can try to work with the selectmen and try to resolve this.
So I will copy this to the selectmen. I don't know if it'll do any good, but I plan to do that. And
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
I wanted to, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say also, it was Bev, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Beth,
Oh, Beth?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said Bev. I really like your point about having a porta potty there will encourage longer stays and people will stay for longer, which makes total sense. And so I guess on the one hand, I do see not having restroom facilities as a way to manage and force people to leave to go elsewhere. When we first started discussing having a porta potty at the falls, I feel like part of the issue is that people weren't leaving to go use the bathroom and that they were just going in the woods around there. So I don't know. I agree with you that, yes, they're more likely to camp out for the whole day now, but I don't know if the opposite is necessarily true, that if there wasn't a bathroom, they were leaving to go elsewhere, and it was shortening their
People
visits.
clearly were
I
going to
do
the
want-
bathroom in the woods.
I do want to say I'm sorry I didn't weigh in sooner before all these things have already happened. You made the point that, this has been on the agenda, and I've been reading the minutes for a while, and I haven't come down. I think the porta potty was probably the final, straw that said, what are you doing? We wait for somebody else to say something and lead the charge. Nobody's been objecting. Maybe we're the only ones that feel this way about it. But frankly, I'm kind of horrified what's going on there. I wish we could put more limitations. It seems like we're expanding the use of it.
I'd like to, we'll get to your question, Joyce, but I want to address your concern about the parking.
Yeah.
The parking has not increased, not at all. In fact, we've eliminated some parking. There is no parking anymore on Valley Cross Road, which we'll discuss when we get to that particular item. No parking on Valley Cross Road at all. We're trying to eliminate some of the parking on Route 16. Cardinal Road, I'm sorry, which is turning
So
into
where
Route
it says no parking on pavement, which means you basically drive up the side of the hill,
Yeah.
that's supposed to be no
16.
parking.
We're trying to eliminate some of the parking up there. So in no way has it increased. It has decreased. You would not know that on a summer day because there's a lot of disregard for the parking signs and maybe no enforcement, which might be some of the issue. But we're trying to
Do you
reduce
have
the parking.
authority to designate, you have the authority to designate spaces, maybe town park?
We have no authority
You have
whatsoever.
none?
It's a
We,
state road.
it is a state road, right?
So things happen slower for us.
I don't mean to criticize what you've done because I know it's all been within the plan. I'm
Yeah.
kind of upset with myself because I didn't speak up sooner.
No, you have a really good point, and a lot of us have talked this point about if we could just minimize the number of people that can
The
use,
impact, yeah.
then the impact drops. So we're not trying to work with the Chamber of Commerce to increase usage up there.
They say what they say,
I would love to see no parking on Carter Notch
Yeah.
Road, period, outside of the parking lots, because, the signs that say no parking on pavement, people are driving up further onto the vegetation. And it's a tricky thing, because then it's like, well, where are people gonna go? And there are we've heard from other business owners in town who feel the opposite, that, oh, well, I need people to come to the falls, because they support my business, it's better tourism for the town of Jackson. So it's really tough, and there's now the extra lot that Jackson Ski Touring built on Valley Cross Road that we've talked about trying to install signs on if we got rid of more spots on Carter Notch Road, that we would have signs that say additional parking, whatever it is, 1/4 of a mile, 3/10 of a mile down Valley Cross Road, and that could possibly be an overflow. Because really, I think the only way I think the bottom line, bathrooms, fence, everything aside, is to reduce the volume of visitors, and that's a really hard thing to do.
Well, it's contrary to what the chamber is doing, essentially.
Yes.
We've talked about parking at the falls for at least every meeting for, I don't know, 3 years. It's been an ongoing discussion, and it's exactly as Margaret says, that we'll have a group of residents that'll come and ask us, like, we need to get rid of all the parking there, and the next meeting we'll have a group of residents that come and say, there's no way you're taking away any parking from up there. And one example I've used on numerous times is somewhere like Mackworth Island outside of Portland. They have a limited number of parking, and that's all the parking there is.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. But I think it's a tricky balance, and it's something we're working on. And really, when we looked at this, the idea is that we're not managing for growth. We're trying to catch up with what's already there. So the falls, whether it's you view it as a healing place or your wild place, it is essentially a front country facility. I mean, it is on a state highway. It's highly visited. And because of that, we're trying to just manage the people that are already there. We're not putting in things for expanding growth. We're not looking at putting in these things so more people can go up there. We're just trying to manage the numbers that are already there. I live off Carter Notch Road. I drive by it, every single day in the summer, as do several people here. And in the summer, there's a lot of people there. And so these things that we're putting in place are not to allow more people to come, or not to encourage more people to come. It's to manage those that are already there. And that's really the goal.
Well, you do have some muscle. You have a plan, right, that the town signed up on.
Absolutely.
The selectmen signed off. The Forest Service signed off. It's all written here. And the primary goal is to keep it, scenic, wild, low-intensity use. And you can force that. I mean, it's a document that took 9 years to generate, right?
Yeah. We agree.
We would need your help in doing that, because we haven't gotten that support.
Well,
there's been a couple people who have come in and said, hey, make it only for residents, do this and that, but it's such a minority that when you bring that conversation up, there's 4 people.
Well, there must be a way to,
And to bring it up with the selectmen as well, to go to their meeting and talk to them about it.
It's a legal document that says what to do there. Everybody signed up on it.
Let's let Joyce.
Yeah, I think everything that I'm thinking or want to say is probably redundant. It's been said. But I think the last meeting I came to, the Conservation Commission, I came because it was regarding Jackson Falls. People who have lived here, it has a special place for us too. And I think that the work you've done with the wood chips and the fencing, was to control the erosion. Is that correct? I mean, to prevent more erosion, because I presume it was becoming worse and worse, and you felt you had to do something to prevent more and control what was already going on. So I understand the reasoning for that. I think would be wonderful, I think, to be able to limit somehow the numbers of people who come. You think that parking, just the limited parking, would be enough to limit the number of visitors, but apparently not. I guess people will just park anywhere.
It's been tough because we haven't had the backing of people who can enforce that, mainly the police. There's been this tumultuous year and a half in the police department.
Sure.
We didn't have any officers last summer.
Sure.
So if we can get them to enforce any of the no parking for real, we may have that on our side.
Yeah,
You don't have to look any further than the Diana's Bath example. 60 parking spaces. Everything else is overflow, $100 fine. Already you have people writing into the paper complaining about the fines. This is how you control use.
And then the concern is that those people who are overflowing are going to come to Jackson Falls, and we're not going to be prepared. Because you do realize on Valley Cross Road that the no parking that we've been waiting a long time to get from Carter Notch to the bridge has been posted, but not the other side. And we need the other side of the bridge posted as well, or we're just going to mess up that way.
Mm-hmm. I was wondering about the cross-country parking lot. You don't. I don't know whether that's good. We were, Huntley and I, talking among ourselves or between ourselves, would say, well, maybe, if people have to walk further, they'll just not want to go there. So we thought, oh, maybe that parking area would deter people because I can't walk that far, And so I don't know, maybe it would only encourage more people if they say, oh, here's this nice thing parking lot. I don't know. I truly feel that it would be great to be able to have some methods to limit the numbers of people who come there. That would prevent the erosion, that would prevent,
That's the best news I've heard all day. We're all in agreement, I think.
Yeah. And you have a quality experience there too. And it should be quality. It's a beautiful place. If it's just run down with people, no one here goes there.
Well, not in the summertime.
So.
It just gets trashed by the high volume of use.
Yeah.
Right. So we ought to think of as many ways as we can to limit the numbers of people. I don't know. I mean, we've said, well, just eliminate parking. This is Huntley's idea. Eliminate parking.
Another idea also that we've talked about, and I don't think we've pushed this very heavily yet. I can't remember. Did I write it in the description for the Chamber of Commerce about encouraging people to park in town, like across from the Wentworth or in any of the lot across from J-Town? To park, and then they have to walk up Carter Notch Road to get to the falls.
That would deter.
I think I did say I rewrote the description for the Chamber of Commerce brochure that they pass out to everybody. We renovated the descriptions, and in that, I'm pretty sure that I said additional parking is available either at the lower falls or in Jackson Village, and then you can walk up. So that if we push that more heavily, then it might make it easier to eliminate parking directly there. And I tend to agree with you that I think there will be fewer people who are willing to walk up that hill to get to the falls.
And I agree with Beth that, and maybe Dick, that to have the bathroom facilities is really just going to encourage more use. But I see Bill sitting there, and I've heard him before say, but people just go right by my house in the woods, and that's no fun either. So, there are obviously two sides to this story.
Yeah, a brief note concerning the bathroom again is that business owners went to the selectmen to say that everyone's using our bathroom. We need a public bathroom. That was how the whole discussion got started. Namely, right.
And I think I also agreed that people were using not appropriate facilities, and I want to, and I feel somewhat responsible for the location of this, to be honest, because I said, that's happening around near my house because of the falls and the intensity in the falls. When I made the mention of it, there's no public facility in all of Jackson. And what I had suggested was that we put some public facility in Jackson. And the realm of discussion was around all kinds of possibilities, including adding something in the park.
The dugout has facilities. And there's no reason they can't.
And there were a variety of different ones, and the one that's here at the library parking area, I thought was a good response because at least it's available, it's easy to get at, and it's something as opposed to not having anything. I have to be honest, I have not heard or seen in anybody's notes any discussion about putting a porta potty at Jackson Falls. Not once until the minutes that came out last meeting.
If you refer to the
minutes from last fall.
Yeah, in October, November, there was a lot of discussion about that.
There was a conversation about locating one at the falls?
Yes.
I believe so. November was
Okay,
was the
I
month.
missed it, and I'm very interested in it.
Okay.
So it's like, okay.
Well, you know, you can lead a horse to water.
On the public bathroom facilities in town, I think Dave Mason mentioned to me that the town spent $20,000 for a bathroom facility. I don't know if it was in the Whitney Center or someplace. And why is it being used? It's full of athletic equipment.
Oh, this is the place at the falls, at the field.
And they have a chicken wire fence or something, which they could put a lock on,
Yeah.
and they wouldn't touch the equipment.
Yeah, it's
I've
the
been in
bathroom
it.
facility here that's full of athletic equipment.
Yeah.
Is it
No,
yours?
it is on ours.
So anyway, I think one exists, and I don't know what the...
Gina?
Several years ago, when me and I were selected, a lady nicely left $35,000 to the town for any use, so we contacted the attorneys, and we asked about the bathroom, because that was shut down in the 70s, and they weren't allowed to use it for some stupid reason. Well, so anyway, the lawyer said, yeah, you can just bring me one. So we took the money and spent $20,000 or $30,000 doing that, and then when this came up, about a party, for God's sakes, they got a $30,000 toilet that they won't let anybody use, which is just dumb.
And who's they?
Huh?
Who's the they?
The town.
The select.
Who owns the key?
Huh?
Is it the select?
There's a code on there. All you have to do is hit it in 1921, I think it was. And yeah. So the point is that I think that the solution at the falls really is the 3-hour parking minimum, a maximum.
Then who enforces that?
Yeah.
Well, the police, we get 5 cops.
So we have 4
And they bring in
policemen
the-
now.
So this is again, we don't want to beat a dead horse. We've been trying to get
Okay, no,
enforcement.
we'll work on something.
Yeah.
I know you guys doing a great job. I tell you, you know, really.
We don't take any of this. We don't take any of this personally.
No.
Anything else on the falls?
You said it all.
I also wanted to mention, like so many things that we do on the Conservation Commission, whether it's putting up signs or spreading bark chips or this, that, and the other thing, we have to see how it goes over time. We have a contract right now to keep that porta potty until Columbus Day. It's less than $130 a month. This one costs $130. That's a handicapped one. This one up at the falls is not, because it wasn't available at the time. We wanted to get a handicapped one up there. So it's a done deal until October, I do believe, unless there's some sort of revolt in town. And I think we need to see how that goes. If it fills up with trash, if it encourages longer stays, we have to evaluate that and see how it goes.
Does it get removed at the end of the season?
It does. The whole thing gets removed. It was just plopped there, and it will get removed.
Well, I agree that the porta potty was necessary under the present conditions up there,
So-
under the present conditions. But low intensity use is going to cure everything. The erosion,
So we have to change
the porta
the
potties,
conditions.
everything. Everything goes away with low intensity use, which is in the document.
That would be the best scenario.
So the
Right.
Conservation Commission should sue the select. I don't know.
Well, if we're successful in reducing the
Get a
parking,
basis for that.
if we're successful in some of these things, then it will turn around.
Yeah.
But you don't have to really go too far to cite examples of overuse and
We're trying to deal with the present problem. Hopefully we
Right.
can
turn it
around this whole
around.
thing and get enforcement, get the parking under control, and get those numbers to drop.
And
That
all
would
the
be-
locals know about the Jackson Ski Touring parking lot, so there's always that for
Yeah.
locals, you know?
If you're local, you don't go to the falls when it's crowded, then you usually.
Well, hopefully it won't be so crowded anymore. Come
You're a
on.
tourist town, get over it.
Well, this is what we
We're not
face.
trying to make it any easier for them either.
Well, go with Conway, find them $100 and then
Great idea.
they're pissed off.
$50 downtown. What?
Okay.
One other question, you guys are interested in the look of the property. You know, back when we were selecting, we had no sign entering Jackson. We spent a couple of $1,000s at the time, and the sign was out on Route 16, heading into town. And for a couple of years, that Bartlett didn't have entering Bartlett, going the other way. That sign was put up, and now I think, I'm pretty sure the state has put up speed limit sign right in front of it. So when you come into Jackson, you can't see entering Jackson, which may not matter.
Is this the sign, I'm not sure I know which sign,
Entering
maybe the sign
Jackson.
on the bridge?
No,
this is down on 16.
Coming in town on 16, heading into town.
Right.
There's a sign that says, well, you can hardly see it.
It's like right before the dump or right after.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
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 Right.
I'll have to look for it.
Might be interesting to see if they can get it to you.
This isn't a comment, it's a question. I know this is comment period, but it's kind of
Well,
expanded
it's
out. That you said that said that a lot of people have come in talking about these issues, and I frankly I haven't seen those minutes where that's happened. And can you say whether or not a lot of people come here in here? You think it's pretty even? There's not more people for the parties and everything else?
Well, we don't get a lot of people at the meetings, to be honest with you.
Well, that's what I thought.
No, it's
Generally,
more,
it's when there's like a big, like when was the one that everybody came?
Prospect
Yeah,
Farm.
that one brought a lot of
Prospect
people.
Farm.
Oh, yeah.
But the Falls really hasn't generated that much?
just kind of word of mouth, J-Town, run-ins, post office, just around.
that-
But we did have a big crowd for the falls maybe a year or two ago when
Yes,
we
you
first started talking about
wood
the
chips.
fence. And the wood chips that came up.
Yeah.
And I've heard from a lot of people in town that they think the fence and the bathroom look great. Just not at meetings, but just they know I'm on the commission and have told me that. But it generally is only when there is a big something happens that people come out for it. So I almost feel like it would be productive to have a town meeting that was a forum that we try to get people from both sides and not just people who are upset about a certain thing or people who just don't, like to get everybody to come. Because I think it's hard to say if there's more on the happy or, thinks that the use is fine side versus the limit use side. And I think that would be a good conversation to have with everybody who cares about it. That's my take anyway. I don't know if you guys...
No, I agree.
If you could say there was a split one way or the other.
Gotten feedback both ways.
My name is Melissa, and I just have a question. How long does it take for vegetation to be rooted enough to be considered doing its job?
3 to 5 years, is that?
Yeah, it kind of depends on what it is. Yeah, I mean, it kind of, like specifically like at the falls or?
Yes.
It depends on, well, there's species diversity, there's aspect and slope, there's a lot of different things. So we're working on a 5-year plan?
Yeah.
I think that we're working on a 5-year plan to look at it. It all depends on what can take hold. It all depends on where people go when they're down there. Maybe we can flag as much. I mean, how many saplings we put in the ground?
Well, we put 100 in just recently, and we put 100 in last year. Right?
Yeah. So those are all flagged, but it depends on where people are walking. It depends on whether we have a giant storm.
Yeah.
Some of the seedlings are doing, some of the seedlings that we planted
Last year.
some of them are doing really well.
And some were dead because they've been trampled on, and some were dead because we planted them in a bad place.
Or they got washed out
They got
by
washed out, yeah.
high flow. But like I'm curious about this also, like the low ground cover, like the blueberries. They seem to just in the past few years have started to make a comeback, at least in some of the, trampled paths that people just take shortcuts from here to there rather than.
And that's the idea of the fence, to funnel people through the 3 walkways, access points to the wall.
I think it's been successful.
Is there an alternative falls location? Is the gravel lot above the museum, is that the museum's overflow parking, or is
The town hall parking lot. I believe that's
that's public
open for parking.
Can you see the falls?
You can see the lower part of the lower falls
What if
when the trees are.
GPSs on everyone's car thing said that was near the falls?
Well, we after we've been sending everyone to Diana's bath and see what's happened there.
Change the,
Well, you have
for
private
5
property
years.
there too. Right above that is another residence property, and they wouldn't want everybody.
Reduce the taxes for 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just saying that once again, now we're
On the same line, though, we have had discussions about access to the lower falls. You know, and we've gone back and forth as a board as to whether we maintain that access, whether we invest money and time into that access. So from the Wentworth, what do they call that little Wentworth?
the little garage.
The little, yeah,
Workshop.
from that spot. There used to be a couple boards you can rock hop across, and then it was maintained to a spot to the lower falls. We probably haven't gone out there and maintained that in a long time. Yeah, 3 years probably. Because there was some debate as to whether people wanted that to be a maintained access point or not.
You can still get through it, but we've made it so you have to sort of work to get there.
I think there was a bridge that got washed out.
There was a bridge that got washed out, and they got replaced by a 2x4, and then the 2x4 got washed out, and then I think people decided they didn't want that to be like an official access point.
Right. And once again, I mean, quality experience, you start marketing it, and that's not a quality experience anymore either. So keep the visitors under control seems to be best point, I think.
And to kind of just get back to your question, erosional disturbance is quick when it happens, and it takes a while for things to recolonize and grow back. But there's just so many factors. I feel like we didn't really answer your question, but there's just so many factors involved that it's like, I can't tell you like, hey, in 6 years everything's going to take root, the bank's going to be shored up, and it's going to be great. We just don't really know. Which is why we go out there and why we put 100 saplings in the ground a month ago, and why we'd put 200 in before that or whatever. We just keep going down there and trying. And we're excited that y'all are invested in, which I'll put a plug in right now. You can come and do some plantings with us. We have workshop times all the time, and we'd love to see you out there digging in the ground with us.
Just if I could continue a conversation, there's places that if they have to, state-owned parks have to bring something back to a safety code, they put scaffolding around it, and it can be several years before, like the Statue of Liberty or something like that, and people may not know it when they go. They find alternative places to go, so the businesses will still have that traffic, but the tourists will say, oh, it's being under restoration, maybe in 3 years we'll come back. Mm-hmm. So, in some places that are sensitive environmentally, the dunes down at Cape Cod, they fenced off massive areas. They fenced off and planted the grass, and they had these little boardwalks so people can get beyond.
Well, that's the idea, yeah.
So, maybe there needs to be more massive scaffolding.
Well, we could build a wall,
no
but
one's going to let it. But the scale is, you have to let something grow.
If I may comment on that, I think there are folks who would do as you say, and possibly want to have more barriers, and yet we're still trying to maintain that wild and scenic view while we're trying to repopulate the area with growth. And it would be really difficult to put up the barriers, to the point where, these guys have strung thousands of yards of twine and had hundreds of stakes to put things, wall off, and people trampled them. And so that's why the permanent fence is trying to at least keep traffic from going off the road onto those places, and the chips to hopefully channel activity. It still does not take care of a lot of the problem that still needs to occur, which is for the plants to be able to take root, grow, and keep people off just simply because they're there, and establish patterns with those chips, which I think has occurred to a large degree, except for the ones where, it's like you build a sidewalk, and in every college there's always the path where people can get to take 3 steps less. And we've tried to make it so the 3 steps less opportunities are walled off. And I think that's a really good effort that's occurred. It's going to cut back a lot of that activity, and I think you'd have everybody up in arms if we put scaffolding up and then the other things. It's bad enough that, for example, on the bridge going across, we have closed sidewalk. But it's a good example of where it would be better to drive traffic to being on the bridge looking at the river, and that one's walled off.
So you're saying the town would have a lack of understanding of a temporary 3-year pause of the falls access?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
I mean, but why not just enforce limiting the numbers first?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then see if that the next step had to be building a wall, which I can't imagine the town would really support. But if the town really wants to take the falls back, then the townspeople need to come together as a group and say, we want the falls.
Yeah, you'd
But-
think it'd be pretty simple.
Yeah, but there's only 7, 8 of us here.
I think part of what we're saying is that we're trying to maintain the, and I'm new, by the way, my first meeting sitting up here.
Congratulations.
Okay? So I can't take ownership for anything they've done. They've done a great job.
They've helped a lot more.
But I've been carping from the audience for the last couple of years. And I think the direction's the right direction. But I also believe that we have a job to better get you guys involved in going to the select people and making sure that the agenda that we have as citizens and we may have as a conservation commission is heard better. Because we are just a voice, and then there are a few folks up there who say, well, they're just a body that recommends stuff. They don't have to listen to us. They do not have to listen to us. They can do wherever the heck they want. They can put a porta potty wherever the heck they want.
They can cut the trees we asked them not
And
to
they can
cut.
cut trees out, and they can put pavement on that parking lot if that's what they choose to do. And I'm sitting here just beginning to understand what our relationship is between here and there, and saying, oh, we need a stronger voice among the select people. We need to push, if we have agendas here that we have, we need to get more people out to push them at the selectmen's meeting, making sure that those things happen that we want to happen and the things we don't want to have happen. Because they're hearing a lot of other voices besides ours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Beth?
I just wanted to ask about your authority to do these things. Does this come from this document, or was this okayed at town meeting?
Yeah.
Is that where it all comes
Exactly. Correct.
It comes from the document.
Yeah, the document was
Now, I'm
given
going
to
to
the
teach
select.
just now. We had set something up some years ago that every time there was a piece of land sale that was under current use, that a percentage of the revenues go to, is that still in force?
Yeah.
So that's good. That's good. Because
Yeah.
before
There's
you.
several.
I think I just saw like.
Yeah, there's several properties that sold.
Change of use.
Yeah. So you did get your money. You get-
Well, I don't know about that yet.
They don't.
I believe it's on
We're
our.
going to.
You get half of that, was it 50% of it?
No, you don't get 50%.
No, it's supposed to be.
No,
That's the way it was written.
never has.
You get-
10%, sir. I've paid it, so tell me.
Okay.
The kids take
So
it.
10% what you're saying, half of that goes to the conservation commission, that's what he's
I
saying.
think that's
Right.
All right. Final question. Are there any final questions on the
You guys
falls?
are doing a great job.
I do
Really
too.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
All right, we appreciate that. All right, let's get Don Johnson and from
Thank you all for coming.
Forest Management.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Dick.
Dick.
Sorry, the single issue.
We'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
You have a chair? Pull up the chair now. All right, whatever you want to do.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
It has been.
Now that they're all leaving, we can pass that multi-potty porty bill we've been thinking about, that thing that we've been looking at. You know, we talked about bringing that double two-story one up there. And,
Double wide.
double wide, yeah. That's great. Let's get to business now.
Oh, paved
Does anyone have an extra thing in the minutes? Is there an extra minutes?
We forgot to do this one. I just realized the work session minutes.
Or did we not approve minutes?
Here you go, thanks. We didn't read the work session minutes to approve.
Let me, I have a copy already.
For Mike.
Thanks.
And for people who don't know Don Johnson.
Hi, Don.
Hi, I've been town forester here for quite a few years now. It's been sort of a hiatus after the timber harvesting that we did 2010 through 2012 up at Prospect Farm. So I do come in and do some timber tax work for Julie and Julie once in a while. And so since 2012, 5 years has passed, and I thought probably high time to take a walk back up into Prospect Farm. Just check the conditions out, what species of trees are regenerating in the patch cuts in there, how the roads are doing and such. Some of those are, sort of a high risk for erosion like that. And just look at general conditions so that I could then turn around and give you guys a report as to what's going on and some recommendations. So this is covered in this. I'll hand this to you. You guys can pass it around, and then you keep one of those. And then we found the latest aerial photography that we could and superimposed the property lines on here. I don't know if I've got enough of everything, but
We'll share it, Awesome.
And so what I really want to concentrate on is looking at these patch cuts that we put in there. There's roughly 20 that are of significance that really they were done for several reasons. Well, the primary reason was for wildlife purposes, really. We were hoping to cut big tooth aspen and get big tooth aspen back. I'm really excited to get back in there and check that. If we don't, it's not a disaster. It'd be fine to see other hardwoods and softwoods in there, great diversity of species will be fine. I'd like to see what animals using it. I'd like to see if the moose are in there browsing it. They certainly were when we were up in there working before.
Can you orientate me on that?
Yeah, so I think I need
the orchard.
The orchard? Okay, this, you're right. This is the new, excuse me, this is the new road going in here. This is the orchard right there. Okay, you can see the apple trees.
There's the orchard here.
So the
gotcha.
cuts that you made, the cuts that you made, are they the lighter green areas?
Yes, all of these little patches.
Oh, so that must be
except for the water up in here.
Trail coming down
And except for this one, this is the vista.
UST would be over
The southern Valley Vista.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
So is this the parking?
Yeah, that's the apple orchard right there.
Where is it down here?
So these are all new. These are all.
Okay.
What we did, we covered around 170, 180 acres in that.
I don't think where the Boggy Brook Road be.
We're just trying to still orient.
These are
Okay. This is Carter Notch Road coming up in.
Oh, I can't even see that. Okay.
This property line follows that.
So this is
Boggy Brook Road.
There you go. That's right.
And is this?
So then you become.
So this is the quail trail here.
Yes.
And so this is the Carter Notch
Perhaps this will help you.
right here.
This is
Put that right next to
Right,
it.
there we go.
Oh yeah.
You are here.
So.
Not that I know this very
Yeah,
well,
that
but
makes sense.
So this is the.
This is the Carter Notch.
Yeah, this is the parking lot right there.
That's
where
the bar.
That's
You know,
right.
the Dana Place Trail comes through.
Mm-hmm.
QST.
And it's just not visible.
So, quail trail.
What does that say right there? That says.
It's funny though, you can't see where the Dana Place leaves.
A lot of times
Is
the
there parking lot?
canopy will hide
Yeah.
things on the area.
That's pretty
Yeah.
accurate. It's just like
It's a tiny trail, I guess.
I just went down a couple days ago.
right there. That's the road going.
So are these the cuts here?
Yep.
Right. Okay.
So all of these little patches are the cuts that
Yes.
happened in
Yeah,
2012.
Yeah.
You see the little red mark?
I'll take the time to try to step into each one of them and look at the connecting trails and such as that, and just get a feel for how things are coming along. And to give you an update, and it'll probably take me 2.5, 3 days worth of time, not all in the field. Probably, a day and a half in the field, and then another day, over a day and a half back at the office, putting everything together. I like to get a lot of pictures, because pictures really go well with the verse, and you try to describe something. There's a picture of it right there, and put a decent report together. And just, make some recommendations so you guys can just keep
Tom,
along with the plan.
Yeah, Tom was wondering, how much that would cost, and is that something we work with you, or is that something you do and bring it to us?
That's how it would work. Welcome to join me when I'm up there bushwhacking.
One thing that, sorry,
you can go first.
Okay, well, one thing that Tom and I both talked about is looking at this management plan in conjunction with what's being done by the Forest Service surrounding it. And I'm just thinking about this because I know my former boss, Dr. Michael Klein, one of his big beefs with the Forest Service was always that there was too much early successional going on in relation to kind of the bigger geographic area outside of the Forest Service. And so one of the questions that I would hope to find out is how does the patch gaps, this kind of patch gap cutting, line up with what the Forest Service is doing as an abutter and kind of some of the other landowners? Just, are we doing too much early successional, or are we that sort of angle?
Well, we use much smaller patches. When we were looking at these, you can go right onto Google Earth and get a really good look at it. Their patches are 15 acres, 20 acres in size, where I think my largest one here is about 3 acres. And so, in so doing, we are probably we might even be covering a little bit more with early succession doing this. But this stand has progressed to the point where it was mature big tooth aspen, short-lived tree. And they have been blowing over and coming down for years up in there. Even after we got done, they were still, because I wanted to make sure that I was leaving some. But a disaster would be like what happened to this 80 years ago. It was all early successional. There was 400 acres. That's really a lousy way to go. Here, I think you find interspersed with where I marked is a tremendous amount of species diversity in the growth up in there. You've got patches of spruce and fir, really thick, that have come into the areas in there. And then you have your northern hardwoods and aspen. Aspen is the thing I think that is really kind of in short supply. And that's what I was really gunning for, is let's get some more aspen back in here. And about 3 age classes are really nice to have in aspen, particularly for grouse. The grouse, they go from utilizing the new growth right up to the roosting trees. And in between age classes, then you start getting into some of your predators coming in and utilizing that, and other birds coming in. Besides your grouse, your woodcock will come in down low here. We have really rich, deep, wet soils. A lot of alders. We didn't work down in exceptionally wet soil areas like that. So I'm not sure what I will find, but I thought it's probably high time to take a look. And I'm sure it's changed a lot since I was up in there.
Did you do the clearings yourself? Is that what I'm
I marked them all. I laid out the wholesale.
For what they would take?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I did mark them.
Okay.
The harvesting was done, at that time it was Garland Lumber that became White Mountain Harvesting. And it was all done with cut to length.
I was going to say it was cut to length, wasn't it?
Yes.
That's good.
Is that the single machine that does everything?
So you
processes the whole
get the forwarder that comes in
right there at the spot, and then there's no skidding. They carry the wood out and pile it in the landing for be taken by trucks to market. And so this way, the primary thing that I liked about the cut to length in here is I was really concerned about a lot of seasonal high water in there, and not even just seasonal, annual high water. And they were able to put all the brush in the roads as they're processing it, and then drive over it and keep them up out of the soil and causing erosion and rutting and like that. And it worked really well for that. And in not all cases, but for 75% of them, it worked really well. There are some places still there, that's springy ground. You're into the mountains up in there. I noticed it every day working up there. That totally different climate, totally wetter, much wetter than it is down the valley. Yeah. It's the mountain influence, and
I have a question.
Sure.
At the end of your proposal, the recommendations that you would come back with, is that for further cutting?
I don't know.
Okay.
The example I can give you is when we had the ice storm in 1998, I did a large salvage sale for the town of Conway up off of Hurricane Mountain Road, where we put in about 120 acres of clear cuts up in there to just salvage really high quality wood. And after about 5 years, I did the exact same thing. I went back up in there and I cruised, I call it cruising, cruised those patch cuts. And we did sampling in that case, which I think in hindsight, subjective observation probably would have been just as good as sampling and coming up with an objective type of sample. And we found that some patch cuts, clear cuts came back into really desirable species, others not so much. And then when we went back in to do some remedial work in 2 or 3 years after that, other things were appearing that we didn't even see before. And the successful part of it has been 2 things. One is we decided to keep 2 of the clear cuts perpetually open. We've reopened them every 3 years. We've taken and created early successional up in a stand of pure overstory hardwoods, and they are heavily used by wildlife coming back into the moose particularly, and they need a break. And they are coming back in there. And the other thing is if you look at the green hills up high there, it's almost pure hardwood. Mm-hmm. Those soils are way more suited to softwood. Way more, and it's just a matter of what's happened in history, as far as I can tell, that probably it was harvested out of sync with softwood seeds. I'm sure that place was covered with softwood at one time. Environmental factors that I can't even know. And so we came into one clear cut up in there, and here's a red pine, that's white pine, tons of hardwood. We've knocked the hardwood out around them, and we've helped move softwood up the slopes of that mountain there by going in a couple of times with chainsaws and cutting out the hardwood and just trying, this ought to be here. Let's see if we can help it. And so those are the kind of things that you look for here. If we've got some wonderful aspen coming back in, something like that, my recommendation, let it grow. It's going to do its thing. And in about 20 years, then look at it again. That would be my recommendation, but don't ask me. I'm probably not going to be able to stagger up into there. But the young man who will be taking over my business, I'm sure would be very interested in it. And as a forester, you've got optimism. Your crop takes 100 years to grow, and but there are ways of enhancing it and bringing it along. And
Don, you've obviously come forward with this, it's, you know, between 5 and 7 years, I guess. And I assume that you're doing that because you think this is the right time to begin to look at that.
Absolutely.
And what would you normally expect to do? Would you normally say 5 years and then maybe another one? What kind of schedule would you be thinking makes sense to do?
Well, as far as remedial work, the younger the growth, the better response you're going to get, the more effect you will have on what is growing there. So let's say I step into one of these patches, and there is no aspen in it, but there's a whole bunch of beautiful white birch and yellow birch like that competing with striped maple and other things that are considered weed species, and we would like to release the birches and such. Excuse me. The sooner we can get in there and do some release work around these desirable trees.
Release means eliminate like the
competition. Yeah, the competition that's crowding in. The better result we will have over time. Not used to talking so much. But
what would be the follow-up though? I mean, say you go in and you say, okay, I had an expectation of...
If I did see that, I said, okay, we should go in and do some pre-commercial timber stand improvement in opening this. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to graphically reproduce this so that we know which cut is which. Otherwise, I see a lot north, south, east, west. I'll say, okay, this patch here, in 3 to 5 years, you should do timber stand improvement in there. The goal will be to release these trees at such and such a spacing and like that. Or I might go and say, the road that was leading to this cut, the water bars have failed. We really should get back in there and put in a new water bar. Or the beavers have come back in, and we should, I'm going to be looking for a lot of different things, and recommendations come. I will try to prioritize them and put them in a time frame. And the time frame and priorities really kind of go together, hand in glove. But
can I ask, are beaver considered a nuisance or a help in the scheme of things?
What's that again?
Are beaver considered a nuisance
or a help?
They're
great.
Depends on what you are.
Yeah. If you look at that beaver pond up in there, I put a patch cut right in next to it to give them some food. Mm-hmm. That was the whole goal, right in there. Woof, take out a big chunk and because they've been gnawing away there for years, but they're really running out of food. And so, you can do things like that.
So you put a patch cut for young stuff to grow up so they
typically once you see them starting to go after any kind of softwoods, like if they're eating any evergreens, then they're out of luck. Yeah. And they want hardwoods, they want willow, they want aspen, they want stuff like that.
Don, will your recommendations include anything about recreational use as well up there? Because we've talked about writing a management plan.
Yep.
And this morning I skimmed through your management plan from, I guess, 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I know that the recreational uses up there is mentioned as part of that plan. But
yes.
I don't really know what our vision is for a management plan. But if that is something that you consider also or factor into your assessment.
It's not that I disregard it, but really whatever I think I will be recommending here is exclusive of that, but should not impact it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Enhance it perhaps. The only places that it might be otherwise is you take, for instance, down on the Forest Service road where I put a patch cut in there and it opened a really nice vista off toward Carter Notch and Carter Dome and in there. I might be encouraging that to grow back up, and the vista would be lost. And, so you've lost the aesthetic, recreational appeal of that. Mm-hmm. And other than that, the the biggest impact I had on recreation in the past was to be up there in the winter. And that was really, not a good thing for recreation. It was tricky being there. And so, I guess to answer your question, I'm probably not going to, but I'm going to try, I would mention if I thought, this would have an impact. If I thought I was having an impact on recreation, I would say something about that.
Generally speaking, is there more use in the summertime or wintertime up there?
Wintertime,
Yeah.
Interesting.
I believe that for sure.
From ski touring. Ski touring.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I mean, there are 20 cars in the winter, in the summer there are maybe 8, so.
And most of the summer traffic is going straight to Carter, so they're getting directly on the Bog Brook Trail, and they're not going. Very few go up the hill towards the orchard or anything, or Hall's Ledge.
Oh, I would disagree with you on that entirely.
Yeah.
Absolutely would disagree with you on that. Most of the traffic is going straight up that hill.
I think
that doesn't really matter.
I can only tell you from the 15 times I've been there, and there are 6 cars, 5 of the cars have gone up.
Well, I think
like
locals.
driven up to Hall's?
No. But the people who are there walking their dog, they're going up the hill, they're going up the hill. They're not taking Boggy Brook at all.
Locals.
And very few people take Boggy Brook. In fact, I have to mention it, and they say, "Oh, what's that one?"
Yeah, but you're talking about locals walking their dog.
I'm talking about. I'm thinking like
Well, wait a
hikers.
minute, what is it for? We're locals, and
Right.
this is
We're-
our property. Are you recalling? I'm not talking about selling it to somebody. You just heard your audience out here. If your business here as Conservation Commission is to sell this to external people, I'm sorry.
Wait, what?
It's who's there. I know, but his comment, just what he said.
About what?
You just said, well, that's local people.
Right.
That's who uses
Yeah,
it.
but you-
That's not only who
That
uses
wasn't-
it.
No, I know.
That's-
I know that.
Bill,
Maybe we'll-
slow down. The question was, where are people
I'm
going?
sorry.
Where are
And the
people
answer is
from?
both ways.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
taking 4 people up to Carter Knox this summer, so.
So,
Not from
people
here.
do use both trails, and a lot of people do
I'm not saying they don't
both
use them,
trail.
but I'm saying that.
And their residents too.
Well, we just heard the comment, nobody goes up onto the ledge, and that's
Well,
just absolutely not
So
true.
that's a good
Well,
point.
no, I don't.
Because I was just on the ledge 3 days ago.
And I went up the ledge last summer.
And I've been up to the ledge maybe about 15 times since I've been here.
I think the point is that more people are getting up there in the wintertime because they're skiing. Whether they're locals or non-locals, that's the bottom.
For summertime, yeah, and I would agree with you. Summertime is really quiet.
Yeah.
Comparatively. Absolutely. And in the wintertime, Boggy Brook or Quail Trail are like, that's 90% of the traffic.
Yeah, that's true. Fewer people go up.
So it depends on what we're talking.
Yeah. I have one more question that Tom had about, he asked for a quote for you to do a PDF map that would be printable off the website. Do you have
And I
any
can
idea
do
about
that. And I did bring some information, and I had some questions. I can't quote tonight,
Because
but I will.
you made that one, did you not?
Yes,
Yeah. So I guess, I don't know if he meant it would just be a different file or like renovating it, updating it?
Yeah.
Is that the one where we renamed
He
the road?
just sent me this.
That's right.
Okay, so
And
he
he's
made
shown-
some changes.
Yeah, and I had a couple of questions myself.
Oh yeah, right here.
So, if people, recreationalists and otherwise, who are going to download this map and print it themselves, a couple of things I saw here is not necessarily as you are here, because they aren't. This should probably say, it does say parking, but maybe we
Yeah,
should
but
just
take
say,
that out.
put parking lot.
Although-
in
Oh yeah, if it's a printable one. I was gonna say, because on the kiosk.
yeah, then you are.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Let's
Sorry, that's a
not
good
touch
point.
that.
I thought, well, maybe that
Move.
and then maybe say
You
to
were
Jackson, Carter Notch Road, this way. Just to, and you get your north arrow on here, and then I could see he struck out these names, and I'm good with that, and put these names back in, and then when you're coming up Wildcat Valley Trail, Hall's Ledge Trail, is it always dual name all the way up until they split up here, this being Hall's Ledge and this being Wildcat Valley?
Yeah,
Are
well,
they always
one's a
dual
hiking
name?
trail, one's a
Yeah.
ski trail.
So it's the same path.
Because the Hall's Ledge
Seasonal.
Trail, the ski one, doesn't start till you actually get to that turnoff.
Up there?
Yeah.
Yes, right, yeah. Hall's Ledge Trail begins right,
Yep.
literally right there.
But the
That's why
hiking,
you put that there.
yeah, but the hiking trail is considered from the bottom.
So the hiking trails from here on the Wildcat.
What I was thinking is then putting that here and here.
So that's the Wildcat Valley, not the Wildcat River Valley. Okay.
Yeah, it says Wildcat Valley now, but I guess, should we strike? Well, no, we put Wildcat Valley and Hall's Ledge, so we have both those names on this to here, and then
Yeah.
they split.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right,
I know.
The AMC
I was gonna say
book
we-
shows it from Route 16 to like 0.3 miles from
Yeah.
Cardinal Road.
I know we talked about trying to match that to the names that were on the AMC map because we figured that was the most
Right.
authoritative map on
Right.
that most people would have. So we talked about trying to make sure that they were lined up in agreement.
Right.
I don't know if this does it or not, but I know we talked about that.
Yeah.
I would be willing to say it does.
Yeah.
This
Well,
also is,
Because the Wildcat Valley Trail is the one I think that is in the AMC, is that not right?
There's the Wildcat
Well,
River
it's-
Valley.
Or-
Trail.
Yeah, and that, but then that's not this, that's over here.
Well, the Wildcat Valley Trail is from Wildcat all the way down to Jackson Village. That's the Wildcat Valley Trail.
And that's the ski trail.
and that's
Right.
the ski
This
trail
is maintained by-
plus
That's the only
the-
Wildcat Valley Trail.
There,
Technically,
well, yeah, but
ski
there's
trail.
the hiking trail, I guess,
is also called the Wildcat Valley Trail.
yes,
Yeah.
and that's
Well,
different,
just
and
on the
that,
halls.
that's different, and that's further up, that's
No, I
over,
think going to Carter.
Is
Going up to
It's
Carter
the
Notch.
Wildcat River Valley Trail.
That's called the Wildcat.
Wildcat River Trail. It's not that one.
Because
Yeah, it's called the Wildcat River
Trail, not
Trail,
Wildcat
not-
River Valley Trail.
No,
Just
right.
Wildcat
But-
River.
but
Wild
they get
River
conf-
Valley Trail, maybe. It's
It's Wildcat River
While we're
Trail.
discussing
Wildcat River
the
Trail.
It's called
map,
Wildcat River Trail.
I had a conversation with George Howard today, and he was curious if we could get the AMC, get Larry Garland to make us a map in exchange for the AMC trails going across town property. I told him I would bring it to the
But
group.
we already have.
This
Why do
map.
we need that?
Well, just an idea.
That's just enough. It's gonna just make it drawn out more.
So,
confusing, I think.
So then the
Maybe in the
does
long term, this would just get you by in the
then-
short term. and This
Let
won't
me ask,
be
I
expensive to do.
don't know the reference that you're making before. The AMC refers to this as the Wildcat Valley Trail, or there's any reference to this at all?
Or the Wildcat River Trail.
The Wildcat.
I think I've got a map in my phone.
Yeah. Hold on, let me just say it without anyone else talking.
I'm trying to
The
hear what you're saying.
Right, the Wildcat
Exactly.
River Trail leads along Wildcat River
This one.
and goes to
Right.
towards Carter Notch.
Carter Notch, right.
Wildcat Valley Trail is the trail that comes from Wildcat Ski Area, down the backside,
Right.
along the Halls Ledge Trail,
Right.
all the way down to the village.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just the fact that they say Wildcat is the only thing they have
In common.
in common.
Okay.
Wildcat River Trail.
Does that one label the
43.
hiking trail? That goes, no. it
Right, and
doesn't
they're
have-
claiming
yeah.
this is a, but it's nothing, it's, they have no
they're
control
saying-
over that. They're just putting 43 on a trail that exists. They don't
Yeah.
monitor it, they
But what
shouldn't
if
even be
they
able to do that.
Number 43.
That's like saying it's a
Wildcat
snowshoe
River
trail and they
Trail.
put it on their map. It's already there.
So do we want to decide on Don's proposal right now, or
Yeah.
wait and look at the budget, or I don't know how we do these things?
Well,
Well, the nice thing is we are going to get some current use money
yeah,
at some point.
I'm for it. I think that John's great with us and
Brian, will you say that again about the different Wildcat River?
well, yeah, let's just make sure. The Wildcat Valley Trail.
So it's the Wildcat River Trail
Right,
Wildcat River Trail, yeah.
is the hiking trail.
Right.
Goes up to Carter.
And the
That leads from
Wildcat
Bonneville.
Valley Trail is not on this map, but that is the ski trail.
That's what comes
That
down
comes
this way.
down and then joins in.
And there is no reference at all to it here.
No.
Right, and there should, because it is a ski trail. They might mention that you could, if you look in a book, you might be able to read about it.
Because you can hike
in
it, I
AMC.
mean, it's a little,
Right.
it can be a little overgrown.
And this goes
but-
the Halls Ledge Trail all the way to
I mean, and then this
Route
is the Warren
16
River Trail. They're all
to the parking area in Carter Notch. Yeah.
Okay.
So, did you get that? Wildcat Valley Trail is from Wildcat Ski Area down to the Jackson Village. And then the Wildcat River Trail is from Prospect Farm over to Carter Notch.
So they do have
Carter Notch Park.
trail up to the...
Unless Tom wants to be involved in that, we could.
He said, I mean, I think he said he was in favor.
Yes.
He said as long as it's not too much. Which, I
It's
don't
not.
know what too much is.
Well, was that the $1,200 that we saw? Yeah, that doesn't seem like too much.
The parking lot, okay.
We got all kinds of money to spend.
Yeah. So you want to make a motion to accept the
Yes.
proposal that Forest Land Improvement made?
Yes, Mark's making
I make a motion to accept that proposal.
I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for, sorry that you had to wait so long.
I will put a work agreement together for that.
Excellent.
And then get back to us also with.
Yeah, I'll do that right away. I'm not the guy out of my office who knows how to do GIS.
Okay.
And we thank you for carrying that. Maybe your business, but we thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's a long-term thing.
Yeah.
Well, very good. I appreciate
You just give us
the support. And,
yeah.
And I'm excited. I get excited about going back in and revisiting. I do. You know, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Another example is in the last couple of years, we did 35 years ago timber stand improvement in this pine stand. We went in there. Some of the trees weren't much taller than me, and we went in there and we ended up. In about 10 years, we went back in, and I couldn't believe how much it had grown. And we thinned it out again, chainsaws, all pre-commercial. The landowner was paying to get it done, the federal government was assisting. And then, once again, in about another 10 years, we went in, and this time we picked out crop trees. They were getting to be this big, and we pruned them up to 17 feet, so they started growing clear. And we actually went in, we figured they were age 50 here just a couple of years ago with a cut to length. And we're actually taking commercial timber out of something that was just little tiny trees. It was amazing to see. It was really rewarding, finally. Now all our markets have finally gone away, so we can't do it anymore. but it did work, and it was pretty exciting.
Yeah. And since you've been here last, the board has changed a fair amount too. There's a lot more faces and a lot more people more
I see familiar faces, I see new faces.
Yeah, some more outdoorsy.
And
feet on the ground.
It was a total shock.
Say that again?
When Larry
passed,
I just couldn't believe it.
That's a bummer.
He was a young man, really, in my opinion.
He was passionate, you know. He was.
Yes, he was. I thought he did a good job for you guys.
He did.
He did a great job.
Yep.
I miss him.
But you all are doing a good job, and that's a good thing. And this is a gem.
It sure is.
It is a gem. It really is, and it's nice to see it getting managed. And a couple of the other guys that work for me are working for other towns and conservation commissions, and there seems to be a tide of people being more conservation minded and wanting to get the work done on the ground. Every once in a while you run into a town and the selectmen seem to think otherwise, and why don't we cut all the timber off of that and sell it? And you go, wow. And it happened. Of course it happens. And it does happen. And so one of the things that some of the towns that we work with, we are trying to sell them on conservation easements, so that can't happen, particularly with some of these that are not very well protected. In Conway, there's been discussions about it. Most of those are pretty well protected. There's a couple, perhaps not.
Some folks get confused between logging and conscientious.
Well, yeah, you know, a respectful logging dog is
How should we proceed?
Well, we gotta do this.
How much more are we gonna?
Double head.
It's all
We got a lot, huh?
good, one or the other.
Yeah, we're not.
So my expectation for turning it at 6 o'clock was really not great.
Well, let's
Yeah,
do,
you were busy.
let's finish the interpretive signs and the fall picnic, because I think
We have heard it.
Wait, is that clock right? That clock can't be right.
7 o'clock.
The opposite.
Man, okay.
I gotta go soon. But I think we can finish fast.
Yes,
Power through.
let's do it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, very welcome. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Great.
We'll be
Hope to see you
inside.
again.
Have a good evening.
Can I, real quick, make a motion to approve the Jackson Falls work session minutes from May 3rd?
So-
we can
Yes,
do
I'll
that.
say that.
The only thing is that how you spell Gary Spears' name?
No.
I thought it was E-A-R-S.
Oh, I think it's good enough.
Yeah?
I have this proposal in here somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that probably came off the proposal.
I've seen that before, but I think it was your email saying that you thought it was spelled wrong. I'm not sure.
I should have.
What's the name of his business?
Eastern Greens. Eastern Greens.
Susan, can you Google
Yep.
Eastern Greens?
I must have turned in his proposal to Tom.
Actually, is it in the other minutes? No. Okay, well, motion to approve maybe.
S-P-E-I-R-S.
Oh, that's
Right,
right.
okay. So, approve the Jackson Falls work session minutes?
All those in favor?
Yep.
Great. For the interpretive signs, Tom sent them to Minuteman. He scanned that wooden thing that George Howard gave us last time with the Baker House image and sent them that image. And it actually looks okay.
Were they going to do it as a watermark full background, or were they going to mock up a couple?
Well, they're going to send us, I think, just, I don't know if they're going to do both, but they're going to, yeah.
Okay.
They're going to send it to us to see what it looks like, and then we can all decide.
Cool.
One thing that George asked about was in the description, and I don't have a copy, but in the description where you're looking out at the view of the valley, and we had a discussion about clear cut or not, and I changed it to just the cuttings.
Yeah.
He thinks that we should mention the Fan Brook sale, and that they were National Forest cuts.
Yeah.
That it's worth mentioning.
Do we know
that's
that-
part of our management plan?
Do we know that all of those cuts are Thanbrook, where you see from
only,
there?
only the latest ones are Than.
Yeah.
The one on the side of Black Mountain.
Yeah,
That you can see. So I could add that in and say the
You could say the
cutting
large
from
cut.
Black
Right, the large
Mountain.
cut is part of the National Forest Than.
Do we?
Okay.
Where they took old growth hardwood from the forest.
I know.
It's
I
'cause they
thought he
named
was
it after a brook that no one
Named
knows.
after an obscure
I thought
brook
he
you
said
can't
Dan.
find on a
I was like,
map.
Dan as in Daniel?
Yeah, no, it's Than. Than.
It's not a
You can
book
look-
name.
Can I
Yeah.
understand what's the sensitivity around that?
Just so he thinks that it would be better for us to mention that the cuts that people are seeing. So these are the interpretive signs that we're going to put up at
Right.
Prospect Farm for people to know that it was sanctioned as part of the National Forest Management
Right, as
Plan.
opposed
That it
to-
wasn't just random.
That we said,
cutting.
hey, make a
Yeah.
30-acre clear cut.
Yeah, and it has a name.
I think that's a good suggestion, by
I
George.
do
Mention
too.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, I'll go back and add that. Minuteman already has them, but we'll just amend that one
Yeah.
section.
Okay.
And so you guys are anti the Larry Garland exchange because the AMC trails access our land?
I think, I mean, you know, Larry, I think he possibly would do it because he's a very nice man and cares about conservation if he has the time on his own, but...
We're just trying to get something started. Let's
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about possibly trying to get some other trails into the system up there too. It's just, I think what we have.
I know he's super busy right now too. I know he's like, because I've been working with him to try and get a new map for the field station.
Conflict of interest.
What's that?
Also, I just wanted to share George's resident's feeling that we've already paid Don Johnson once and that he should just go back out there for free as part of the first round.
And that was 5 years ago?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Was that part of the contract?
No, that's not.
That was my feeling also, but I
Yeah,
just
separate
had
sort
to
of motion.
Yeah,
bring that
that
forward.
doesn't seem reasonable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Unless we had a specific item in the contract that said, in 5 years you will.
Yeah.
And we
And I didn't
And maybe
read the
that
whole
means he's gonna
document
drive up
in
with his truck
great
because I went there.
detail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did my end, now I think you should do this. It's gonna cost $1,200.
Yeah. Okay.
He does a
Can you
good,
do that in your contract?
yeah.
You will stop out 5 years from now and fix anything that
And
you
spend
didn't.
3 days in the woods.
And anything that broke down between now and then.
For the same mark, for the same hourly wage that you got.
5 years ago.
It's a hell of a contract.
Fall picnic?
Summer meeting schedule, July. You mentioned something about not doing it on the
Well,
third.
Is it like
It's
the?
the
The
third.
third is
Oh,
not a good time to
Right,
do it.
right.
It
Is
would
it?
be the following week. I won't be here.
What about canceling it just for the month and get back in August? Is that a bad idea?
We used to do it all the time in the winter.
I feel like there's a really
I don't know
a
what's
lot
going
of
on.
stuff happening
yeah.
right
The
now.
fall's
It's
I'm
like
happy to do
Falls
that
might
if
be
people are going to be
rampage.
around.
Let's just do the third, or
the-
last week of
the
Ju-
10th.
10th. You won't be here?
I won't be.
I won't
here.
be here.
Yikes.
Tom will be here.
I'll probably be here on the 10th.
you'll be there.
Next Monday.
I think I get the 7th.
Oh, yeah.
Any problem doing it?
Do we want
No,
to?
I mean, I don't have a
Do
problem.
we want to do the thing that Tom does online there, or we check our schedules and then say
The
this is-
Google Doodle? Oh my god, it never. It takes forever.
No, I've never.
Why don't we just
I-
decide, we'll have it on the
I-
10th, and if things change, we'll have to amend it.
Sounds
But
good.
July 10th,
And
next
we're-
meeting.
You know, especially that month, not everyone's gonna be around anyway. There's gonna be, no matter what day you pick,
Right.
you know, 3 people
July
that
10th.
will make the meeting.
Doublehead New Ski Trail Granite Backcountry Alliance work session, July 29th.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, so,
Are we, is this like an asking for help from us to help
Well,
with the work
I-
session?
I mean, for first off, just so that we all know that this is actually
That it's
happening,
happening.
that the Doublehead Ski Trail parking lot was accepted, it's gonna be moved up the road, and they're gonna build a trail that goes from the current trail to the new parking area, as well as maintain and widen, well, we can't say they're gonna widen it, but potentially open up the trail to where
Is this the
It's boundary.
organization where they just got a good sized grant? Is that?
I'm not sure if they got a grant, but
They,
they are an organization.
They just got approval. They're going to cut a glade on Bartlett Mountain, and then well, it's an old one. It's the one that used to exist, and then they're going to cut a glade on Baldface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
South
that's the one
Baldface.
that got the grant.
They did
Yeah.
get a grant?
Yeah, it was,
It's Tyler Ray,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw that in the paper.
Nelson's dad. We go to Montessori school together.
Okay.
Our sons go to Montessori school together. Yeah, no, it's good that we know about it, and I'm glad that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Do you know, are they going to decommission the other, whatever the last 7/10 of a mile of the old trail?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Well,
Where-
they
where's-
can, because it's the ski trail.
Everything's gonna pop out at the new parking lot, so you won't end up.
That's what I mean. So they're going to decommission that. The one that comes out on Doublehead Drive.
So you
Yes.
won't ski down that last bottom bit.
No, it's going to swing.
Yeah, it's gonna swing towards
Yeah.
Dundee Road.
I don't know if they'd keep it open and just as an option to walk back or not.
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be decommissioned. And, yeah, that's about it.
Whatever. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, so Gray's Inn,
So much for walking the loop.
walk down, style signs.
Mark did it for us. He did all the work. He took care of it for us.
Speaking of which, does anybody have any grass seed? Or
Yes, I still have it at my house. And I haven't,
Haven't had a chance.
I haven't, no. But we looked at it, and we
Yeah.
thought grass seed was maybe
Yeah,
good.
I don't think, my concern for that particular spot is you'd have to fence that, you'd have
Oh,
to
yeah, it's gotta be
string
fenced
that
off.
off. Okay,
It's gotta be
if
fenced
that's the case, then
Yeah.
yeah, I think you put seed and straw over
Yeah,
it.
you gotta
But if
fence
not,
it, yeah.
Which
You
area?
gotta fence it and then plant it. In front
I
of-
think
Oh.
scaffolding would be.
Yeah, exactly.
Brick.
In front of the middle picnic table.
Statue of Liberty.
yeah, you'd have to almost stand there. Kind of, I wasn't there for the work session, so there's just a low point, and it looks like she raised it up a little bit and
Covered
can
smooth.
seed it.
Yeah, I just.
Yeah, that was
put
the
spreadsheets,
party of one did
some,
that.
You know, some little.
Strong.
Bill came along and I'm like, I'm done.
He helped? No.
I'm done.
So is that a yes, we want to put grass seed on that?
As long as it's,
Let's stake
And
it out.
Stakes out.
and twine, I guess.
well, that's fine, yeah, but it's a small area.
Okay. Also,
Our cotton scaffolding, yeah.
Cotton and oak.
Does somebody want to take the Gray's Inn signs? Did you find them at my house?
Yes. You mean the mystery loop signs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them in my car.
Okay. I don't think that anyone's going to do it tonight.
No,
so
probably
does
not.
anybody want to be in charge of doing
Well, I certainly can do it, but I'd like to get someone to also agree where they go. I mean, I got the
I
map.
can come with you
I
and
have
help
the
you
map.
sometime.
Okay.
Which signs are these? These are the.
It's
The mystery house loop, there's 3.
Gotcha, the
like the 2-way
Yeah.
arrow, the 1-way arrow, and then I think the third one maybe just says mystery house loop trail, 45 minutes round trip
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
I could. I could come help too. If you guys set a
Tom
time,
and I put up
let
the
me know.
ones at Prospect Farm, so they're all set.
Oh, cool.
They're all up.
I'd be happy to help drive a stake, but I'd be useless to figure out where they go.
Okay, well, Tom
You had a
sketched
little
out a
map.
map, and I have
Did you
that.
find it?
I know where 2 of them go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the
I
next,
think it's I think it's fairly
Yeah.
self-explanatory
it
once
is.
we go out
I
there.
think so.
Okay.
Maybe to you.
I thought of one thing.
Yes.
I was going up the Huckman's Marshbrook Trail, and it looks like it's been driven on just recently. I just went up there
Really?
Friday night, and
Where
some
was
trucks,
Yeah.
at least a truck, went up there.
I
and
think it's ski touring or the
it could
Forest
be.
Service.
But whatever the case, we need to do something, because I was up running there with a buddy of mine, and he's on a different conservation commission, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I told him, oh, Conservation Commission, this is a piece of land that we monitor, and right off the bat, I'm like, why are there trucks?
Do you think it was really recent? The only reason I ask is because Snoopy and I found a dead moose out there on the UST trail, and they came and somebody took it away. And so I don't know why they would drive that,
why would they drive that way?
instead of the road.
So,
But right around that time is when I saw the tracks that went up there. So
I think regardless of
they should never be on
what
there.
season or whatever it is,
Yeah.
we need to close it off.
Yeah.
It seems ridiculous. I mean, and as soon as those tire tracks are there, the next guy thinks, oh, there's very few places you can go do that now. I mean, you can honestly bring a truck into the woods and say, this isn't gated off. And once you're in, you can go wherever you want up there. So it seemed really foolish. Even if it was last fall, last spring, last summer, it doesn't matter. It's always wet up there.
Yeah.
And as much as I don't want to have a gate,
Where's the Marshbrook Trail?
well, before you get to the Ballantyne parking,
It's right
ski
next to
parking,
it.
Okay, yeah.
just downhill on your left-hand side.
And then, okay,
Steep
yeah.
Huckman's
Okay.
Marshbrook.
Yeah.
It's got 3
Yeah.
names.
Okay.
That thing,
Yeah, no, I know what
it
you're
got
talking
driven
about.
on.
Yeah.
So it should never have traffic. And I've been up there during hunting season and seen people in their trucks. Can't say they were hunting,
Yeah.
but they weren't walking their dogs
Was-
in
was-
trucks.
were-
And it shouldn't have been driving up
Was it
there.
ATV or what?
No, a truck,
It was
like a real truck.
And that's on Prospect Farm.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that would
You
be.
said it's before.
Well, no, that's not Prospect Farm.
Left, it's not.
No, that's Ballantyne's property. It never actually touches Prospect Farm.
So you don't have anything to say about it?
Except it's plenty. It's like,
Because it's all down here.
Yeah, we don't hit Prospect Farm if you cross onto.
Although, I don't know though.
Could make a recommendation.
Because if this is the quail trail, it's got to intersect somewhere here with the quail trail, so it might come across this corner.
But when you're on the quail trail, that's when you see the sign.
The
Meaning the conservation.
the lower part is not, that lower part of Marshbrook is not on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we could talk to the
But
Ballantynes.
At some point,
Yeah.
you might
Because
cross.
it-
Yeah, no, I know what- I know what you're talking about.
Because basically it's
The top
access to the land that we manage. It's the only access point that we don't have control
well,
over.
then we put gates.
You can see if you look at Hutman's Trail, you can see it.
Then we get started.
Where is
Put a new sign up for
oh, Hutman's Trail? See, that's the approximate property boundary.
the Marshbrook Trail.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a new sign.
I mean, it might right up there, but it's hard, to, tell.
Ski trail.
What do you guys think of a fall picnic at Prospect Farm idea?
Oh, like a town thing?
Tom is like super excited.
Why don't we just go with it then?
And he wants to have like a harvest fest in the apple orchard, open the road so people can drive up. It's like a big picnic.
So that's the fall picnic?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, like a town fall picnic.
It's super cute. Is there enough space for parking?
Good Lord, you
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think you could have.
Maybe you start parking people down
Spur Road.
that Spur Road, just
Yeah.
parking down.
Yeah, going the other way.
And we
sure,
could
you
also
put thousands
encourage
of
carpooling, have people leave their cars at the Valentine Landing. We could have a shuttle,
Walk,
They could carpool.
or they can walk.
ride
Yeah.
a bicycle.
I think we should say maybe people park down
Should
low
they?
and hike up to it unless you're, handicapped or disabled.
Well, that's gonna shut out about 90% of
The town.
folks who live in town, so, yeah.
You're over the age of 60.
But you could still fit a fair amount of cars on the Carter Notch Spur Road.
Yeah, you could fit a bunch of people up.
Anyway, I think like there's a lot that needs to be talked about
Yeah, I
surrounding
think that'd
it,
be
but
awesome.
just I've had to.
Sounds like fun.
Nice idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we'll put it on the agenda for the July meeting.
Yeah.
Susan, did you write anything down about the Marshbrook Hutman's entry point and Valentine property?
Yeah.
Just because I think we should maybe look into that.
We should follow up
even
on
if
it,
it means
no matter what,
contacting
and
Valentine's.
just ensure that.
It'll be one of those things
I'm
that,
sorry, what's the specific one?
yeah, if we just put down access point through Valentine's property to Prospect Farm. Because it'll disappear and we'll forget about it. It'll be,
Yeah, so what I have is, Hutman's Marshbrook Trail, who's driving on it, suggestions of who that might be. Should be closed to motor vehicles, tracks will invite other drivers. Valentine's property might not be part of Prospect Farm. Make a recommendation to Valentine's because it's access to the land CC manages.
excellent.
Is that okay?
That's brilliant.
Sorry, I have
That's
a
very
lot of
good.
thoughts in my head.
That was the only one that was.
Are we done?
Yeah, we are.
Do we want to set up a time to hang signs, or I can just kind of do it on my own, or do I want to say like?
For the mystery loop?
Yeah, like Wednesday or Thursday, it might actually be good weather.
Yeah, I can only do Wednesday.
I can maybe do
Evening.
Wednesday.
Wednesday's the only afternoon I'm free, actually.
Toss an email out there.
Yeah, if you want to
Time
just
and-
send a text or message. If
Okay.
I'm around.
I can't do Wednesday, but you don't need a fourth person.
Probably not. And there's also one
Looks
vote.
good.
Really good.
There should be
One, two.
Really? Did one disappear?
Well,
I thought there
I
were
only
two.
saw one,
I might have been off track.
but one needs a saw.
Yeah, one's pretty good size.
I have it in my car. I thought we might go out there today, but I know that won't happen because of my ineffective judgment.
You
of
scared
time.
it at first.
Hey, you just have to put the hammer down. That's the way you run those things
I know.
now. I mean, but I didn't think we were going to get away without any discussion on
No.
that. So,
Well, yeah.
Well, we couldn't really because it was on
And
the
it's on
agenda.
here.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
just
once that, we could have stonewalled them on the first part, but being that it was under the Jackson Falls agenda, and they were actually supportive.
Yeah, I think we were all in heated agreement.
Do we want to get wood chips? I almost feel like we should lay off the wood chips this season and not do it. I feel like people are upset right now, and like maybe it would be a bad time
Yeah.
to do the wood chips. Also,
It's gonna get hot.
it's getting late now, and I feel like it looks nice. The paths look pretty good, and maybe just, I don't know, wait till the fall to do it, or is that bad timing? What do you guys think?
The other thing that we could look into doing is trying to get a stash of wood chips and having it age. And
You
then
mean like we had before?
Then put down, well, like, but really let it age.
Yeah.
But you would have to like have them spread out, right? 'Cause
No,
if
no,
they're
just
gonna-
have the town put a big pile for us, and then a year from now, we come and grab it and bring it up there.
But don't you think in the center of the pile they would still be
Yeah, they do,
fresh,
but-
wet looking?
No, the center would be aging, because it's the temperature would
But what
warm
if
there.
but what if we spread the chips like Margaret was saying in the fall? Wouldn't they age over the winter?
They would.
No, not decompose. You want composting of the chip, so you're getting that dark kind of soil, more soil-like. I just think that we could create a wood chip that's more pleasing. Remember we were talking, trying to put loam into it, this and that. We can take wood chip, take some loam, and have them just turn it around and leave it there.
Just get the
And then it's
pile
our
and leave it
pile.
there
Like,
all
if you look at
summer?
the pile that's at the Thompson house, look at the bottom of it, the stuff that sat for the last, I don't know, 10 months. Look how different that is than the stuff that's fresh and exposed. The temperature is ridiculous, how much energy is created the larger the pile. The snow is melting off of those piles because, they're decomposing. So I think that would be one way to get a better organic matter there, as well as it doesn't cost us anything. And
Well, maybe we could use the Thompson House chips, they're free.
They are someone's.
I think we were. Weren't we worried about what might be in with those chips? Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah.
The what?
Or what might be in along with those chips? Were there any seeds or anything? Yeah, we just didn't know. I thought we talked about those chips.
We don't want those chips.
Yeah.
Because they're doing roadside maintenance stuff. That could be knotweed. Could be everything in there.
I did talk to Ryman, and he said, sure, just tell me where you want them. So, and I said, I don't really know when or where. So, that's good.
And maybe we should, let's.
You want to get a pile?
To the road agent.
Drop this year and spread them next spring.
I think we should just have a pile.
So where do you guys want them?
We'd have to talk to the town, maybe Rob Kelly?
Pat Kelly?
Pat Kelly. It's Rob Kelly.
Yeah.
Pat Kelly.
Pat Kelly.
See about having it
Check with
set
Pat
someplace. I mean, they might just say, and then they can scoop them up. They can scoop them up with a bucket loader and drop them off.
That's a good idea.
10 months from now or whatever.
And then
we'd have a better product that would look dark and.
Oh, so not keep them at the falls. Keep
Right.
them
Offsite.
Offsite.
Oh.
Someplace.
And when we're ready for them, they scoop them up and bring them up, and they're nice and dark.
And Pat would be amenable to that, I think.
Or we could make the chip pile high enough that it may obscure the view of the porta potty from
cover it,
the
right?
lighting
It
house.
looks like an ant dome or something.
It's
You're
not
really tall.
Big chip berms are okay too.
My other question is, do we know if the police department has been informed about the no parking on Valley Cross Road, and are they going to patrol it? Because it's useless if no one does anything.
I'd love to talk to the police about that.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay,
You're in charge.
And they should put the third sign in between the two signs.
I mean, it seems silly that Conservation Commission has to approach the police to enforce something like that.
But
Should be.
But if
Never
it's
done.
never been there, they might just
Right.
not even know. I mean, I'm assuming that Pat probably told them, but I just think we should follow up.
Because
Yeah,
they never do it.
the signs are a little bit awkward though. Like it says, no parking between
Between
signs.
signs.
And there's one sign that's near the bridge on one side of the road.
Yeah.
And the other one's
On Carter Road.
Right. You
on
can't-
the other side of the
Right.
road.
You can't really
It's
see
like-
both of them at the same time. You're like, where? Well,
It's
here.
like between what
I
signs?
thought we concluded it was just going to be no parking.
Right.
Period.
No,
Not
it says
no parking between signs.
It's
Right.
like
He
that.
did that to eliminate the number of signs.
He didn't want to put up 6 or 8 signs.
And then the
But you could have
signs
done
don't
three.
really, between signs, there's no between signs unless you think
Right.
about it on opposite
Yeah.
sides of the road.
Yeah, it's
So
not.
maybe we need
it's
to.
not
I,
a great-
I looked at it and I was confused, and I think I'm a reasonably,
Well, then here's what's going to happen, right? You see that sign, no parking between signs. The first car parks, you park next to it because he's like, well, he must not be between the signs because he parked
Right.
there, and then you just park.
Exactly.
It's just like put up the sign.
where's
no
the other
parking.
sign?
So maybe we need to redo those signs.
Just no parking, no
I
parking,
think
no
the
parking.
problem
And
may
on
have
both
been
sides
that
of
they
the
had
bridge.
two left pointed signs,
It's all the-
and the only way you could make it work is if you put it on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah.
Oh no, goodness, you're right.
I think that's what happened, to be honest, but I can't say.
I'll have to look at him
I'm
again.
going to call Pat and have him.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I feel like we've got some good things to talk about.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to be done. Can I make a motion to end the meeting?
I second.
Have we determined,
I second.
meeting?
I think we did everything.
Okay.
I second.
All in favor?
New mood.
Aye.
Oh, we can talk about that in July.
I'm really into that.
You are?
What's that?
The Grey's Inn new loop.
Tom will come with his picnic plans, and you come with your new
My
plans.
Talus
You guys
field.
can have a party.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to go see that.
I've enjoyed learning that, I
Yeah.
was calling things screen. And it's Talus.
Talus.
100% correct. I love it.